This story comes from the 3rd edition of Dungeons & Dragons, and sometimes to get the things you really want, you need to do something that maybe the rest of the party doesn't really agree with. Now, before I get started, the 3rd edition of Dungeons & Dragons introduced something known as prestige classes, and these were basically advanced classes that you could become after you hit certain requisites from leveling up whatever base class. And one of the classes I really wanted to be, I was a player during this time, playing a rogue, of course, and I really wanted to become an assassin, one of the new prestige classes that they introduced. And it had a lot of requisites that you needed to follow. For example, it was you need to be an alignment of any evil. That's fine. I believe that was neutral evil for this one. You need to have so many points in some of your skills, which is like hide, move silently, and probably something else. And the way they had those set is basically I had to get to a level 4 or 5 rogue. I want to say level 5 rogue before I could actually become an assassin. And its final prerequisite was kill someone for no real good reason. Okay. Alright, that one's going to be a little bit harder to do, but I'll try my best. Now, the campaigns that I was playing through wasn't so much as a campaign, but my older brother was actually the dungeon master, and I was playing with a lot of his friends. And we had a pretty big group. We had maybe like 5 or 6 people with us at any time. And rather than make his own or homebrew his own campaign stuff, we played through a series of pre-made adventures, which were these little like pamphlet things that were everywhere that you could just buy and just had adventures all set to go. You just play through them, and that's what we did. And we've gotten through quite a few of them and collected a fair amount of treasure. One particular one that I want to mention from one of our previous adventures was this special coin. And on this coin had this elaborate carving of this beautiful tree on it. We had never seen anything like it, because it was a magic coin. And I'll tell you what it does in a little bit. But since it was a coin and had a tree on it, we're like, oh, who wants this? Oh, the ranger! Makes sense for you to have it. So we let the ranger hold on to it. So we get into this current pre-made adventure. And in this, our task was to basically find a kidnapped princess, like a young girl princess, like 12 years old or younger style young, and she was kidnapped from whatever city in whatever kingdom, and we were tasked to go out and find her. Okay, and we had to go to a cave of what sits, I don't remember, either Githyanki or I don't know, something else. It's really not important. We had to go kill some stuff. We found the girl. We're like, great. And we found the princess. And the entire time we had her with us, she acted bizarre. She wasn't, a typical 12-year-old girl in a hostage situation. She didn't seem very afraid of everything going on around her. She didn't seem fazed by all the violence and all the action and all the craziness. But we were just like, alright, maybe she's kind of in a catatonic state from everything that's happening, and we just gotta get her out of here. Maybe. Who knows? Eventually, we finally get her back to the town, and we were confronted by agents of some other opposing faction or something, the ones who pretty much got her kidnapped in the first place. So in the middle of this town, of course, we rumble with them, and a fight breaks out, and we mess them up. But after that happened, the town's guards caught wind of it, and all these guards showed up to this fight. And at first we were like, oh, thank God, the town's guard is here. Everything is going to be okay. And the town's guard knight captain dude saw us and said, they've got the princess! And we were like, oh crap! Crap! And we ran away, and we immediately took off the closest opposite direction we could think of, and it was into an alleyway with a dead end. So we just ran off straight into an alleyway, and the knight's guard encompassed us right into this alleyway, and we're like, oh god, how do we explain this? And we did try diplomacy to let them know that, no, we were rescuing her, we swear. And they were like, we heard nothing of it, surrender! Rah! At this point, it was pretty clear that no matter what we did, these knights were going to capture us and take us and throw us into jail or fight us or whatever, and we weren't sure what we're going to do. So we did the only solution we could possibly think of. We're going to kill him. Take this. So the leader of this squad of guards, immediately rushes at us. And he was a big looking dude. Like, he's a big, tough, probably had a lot of hit points. Like, he was easily going to be the toughest dude to take down. But thankfully, the ranger knew how to handle him. Because as that knight captain came at us with his sword, it was like, ah! Ranger took out that coin tree that you saw earlier and just had it land right at the captain's feet. And the moment that coin hit the ground, a 60-foot tree immediately burst open and just grew up into the sky. This massive tree in this alleyway now, taking up like a very large portion of it, right underneath the captain's feet. So he just went. He came down a couple of turns later, not too far, but he still just went. I don't remember if he lived or not. If he did, he didn't survive much longer after that because, we were all there ready for him. But yeah, the biggest guy that we had to worry about we instantly took care of thanks to a treasure from a previous adventure. Now, of course, there were several other guards there with them that we still had to take care of. And we did some, normal typical fighting. I was still playing my rogue at the time, so I was trying to hide wherever I could and use some sneak attacks with my crossbow. Nothing too crazy. And then eventually, it was the ranger. Maybe we had a druid with us as well. Or was it someone had cast an entangle spell, so all the guards that were also there got entangled, and they were basically like bound up by vines and leaves, and they couldn't move, and they were basically helpless. And I thought, this is the perfect opportunity to hit that prerequisite of becoming an assassin, of just killing someone. So I just waltzed right back up behind one of them, just take out my knife, and oh, if that one doesn't work, let's try that guy. I waltz over to the next guard and thud. I basically slit the throat of each one. And I think that's when the knight captain finally landed, and I was like, oh, just in case. Took out that one too. So just in case one wasn't enough, I slit the throats of 4 or 5 people, hoping that was enough to become an assassin. The story doesn't end there. Now, we knew we just launched a tree in the middle of this city. More people are gonna be coming, and they're gonna check it out, and we weren't sure what we were going to do. We had to hide and collect our thoughts and figure out how we're gonna get this princess back to her family so they know it's safe and it's us and they don't need to worry about it anymore. So, because we were trapped in this alleyway and we had to buy time, our sorcerer that was with us, who was trying to become a dragon disciple, had a spell called Rope Trick. And Rope Trick takes any piece of normal rope, only makes it go straight up into a portal, going into another plane of existence, more or less. So it was basically a rope trick, and you just climb up and you are now in an entirely different plane. You can pull the rope up and you just hang out in there until you want to leave. So it's like a little safe haven, free from people, free from monsters, spells didn't work in there either, etc. So we're like, let's get out of here. Rope trick. I climbed up right away. The sorcerer climbed up, the ranger climbed up. The barbarian that was with us, hoisted up the princess, who again was still unfazed, and one hand climbs up the rope and gets all in there. The druid comes too. Alright, so now we're all inside this portal. We pull the rope up so they can't find us, and we finally take a moment to finally figure out what's going on. And the princess still isn't really reacting to everything that's going on, which thought was bizarre. And we thought maybe she was enchanted or something, or cursed, and she wasn't all there or something. So the sorcerer's like, okay, that can make sense, and he casts Detect Magic, and all the princess starts glowing blue, which means something about her is magical. So we're like, okay, yeah. She's definitely enchanted somehow. They did something to her. Maybe they sapped her intelligence or took away her ability to speak or her awareness or something. Yeah, maybe, possibly. And we're trying to figure out what's really going on. We're basically all in like a huddle, like all in a corner, kind of talking to it, and the princess is like 20, 25 feet away, just sitting there. We're all, talking at her. One person looks up back at her, make sure see she's still looking, just talking about her the whole time. And so they came up with another idea, and we're like, okay, if she won't speak, we'll hear her thoughts. Again, the sorcerer's like, you got it. Conjures up another spell and casts Detect Thoughts. Or Read Thoughts, whatever it's called. Basically allowing him to hear her thoughts. And he casts that. Nothing. She was thinking nothing. Not a thought in her tiny little brain was going on during all of this. The party's response? Oh, that's weird. Duh, what do you want to do? And this debate between on what we're actually going to do with this princess who was acting quite bizarre went on for way longer than it should have, to the point where I was kind of actually getting annoyed. So, to the point where I decided I would find a solution on my own, come what may. So as everyone is talking, trying to figure out what they're going to do and how they're going to handle the situation, and I'm getting frustrated, I turn to the dungeon master, my brother, and I just say, I slide out one of my daggers, and I immediately turn and I throw it at the princess. He's like, alright, roll. And, I rolled my 2 hit, and, it hit. So as everyone's talking, I just turn and I just whip a dagger and just hits her right in the forehead. And the rest of the party's like, what are you doing? And the moment that dagger hit her forehead, her disguised self wore off and she morphed up into this giant, monstrous demon with like a scorpion-like tail. I believe is actually an oceluth, or maybe something else. I want to say it was an oceluth, and that one was actually hiding inside this disguise the whole time. So as soon as that happened, and there's this giant 8-foot-tall demon monster just short away inside the sanctuary from the rest of the party, the rest of them were like, oh, balls! And they pull out their bowl and they take out their swords, and I look at them and I say, ha! And I leapt out the rope trick and let them deal with it. I ain't gonna fight that thing. And in my head, I figured the worst possible outcome is that I killed a little girl. But I would have become an assassin. And I did.